accession number 4667, date of interview 26 February 2021. This is an oral history interview conducted by the National Archives of Singapore, NAS, with Lim Siew Kim. I am Jasmine Tan Adams, a volunteer community interviewer under NAS. Thank you so much, Siew Kim, for taking your precious time to share with us the impact of COVID-19 in your personal life under this online interview during this COVID-19 pandemic period. I understand that right now you are a tech mentor, Siew Kim.
Yes, I am. Yes, I am. It's been, as you know, there's been a lot of changes over the past 1 year since COVID began. And because people cannot travel, we are not able to meet our friends internationally, to do business internationally. And Singapore has always been an entrepot, a meeting place for many countries and nationalities around the world. So when that happened, and all borders were closed, everybody had to go on emails, on WhatsApp, and Zoom became our way of meeting, just like what we're doing now.
Yeah, perhaps we can just go back first, and because I will need to start off the interview and then ask you questions, about it.
Sure.
So to start off the interview, maybe you could share with us your name, place of birth, and briefly tell us about your family and educational background.
My full name is Lim Swee Kim. I was born in Petaling Jaya in Assunta Hospital, Malaysia, and I came to Singapore for my undergraduate studies. So today I'm a Singaporean. I have a daughter who will turn 25 years old this year. I'm divorced, and I'm now in my mid-50s. I studied computer science in the National University of Singapore. And thereafter, I also did my Master's of Business Administration, part-time basis, while working in a multinational. So it's been quite a adventurous journey, I would say, because my various roles took me to various places around the world.
So I understand that you have always been a working mother, and that you actually carried on different roles in various stages in your career. Maybe you would like to tell us about a few of the roles that you had in your career.
After I graduated, I joined the Changi International Airport Services. Now it's called the NATA because it was bought over by the Middle East MNC. I spent 3 years there doing programming, coding the catering system, which was wonderful because I got to taste some of the food in the kitchen too. Then I joined a Dutch startup, and I spent almost 20 years in that startup as we went through several stages of growth, through mergers, through acquisitions, through customer expansions. And that was the job that brought me to many places around the world, especially to Europe, Asia, and Americas. Then after that, I joined an American company to do some R&D work. Actually, I was recruited by them to do training, but they found that because I had a very deep scientific background, they wanted me to be involved with their team of R&D scientists, with their sales people, and also with their marketing and operations people to conduct interviews with their customers. So that was also a wonderful experience for me because I managed to bring everyone together. So my last job was actually at Temasek Management Services, and I stopped working 4 years ago because my mother, who lives in KL, has some mental problems. Yeah, she had a snatched teeth incident, unfortunately, about 5 years ago. And after that, she had to, seek refuge at home, and she wasn't going out. Yeah. So, but unfortunately for me, within 2-3 months of quitting my job and making plans to go to Malaysia, my then ex-husband told me that he wanted a divorce. So that took me on a journey.
Yes.
That took me on a 2-3 year journey to to get through all the divorce proceedings and all. So I had to learn law, to be very honest, and I'm very thankful that our Ministry of Law places a lot of its information online. So I could go online and read up on all the laws, governance and everything regarding families. So that also helped me a lot. Yeah. So today, everything is over. So I've been going for training for the past 1 year to get myself back into the new system. And suddenly the reset began due to COVID-19. So in some ways, I'm very blessed because everyone's stuck at home, just like I was. And if I may be very candid, I had a terrible road accident in December 2019, and I actually broke my neck. Yeah. So I have recovered, and fortunately, I'm able to move. But yeah, so in some ways, COVID-19 has been a blessing for me because everyone had to go online and I cannot go out. So in fact, my social circle expanded because of this.
Right. So at the time when COVID-19 pandemic hit, you were not in a full-time job at that time, right?
No, I wasn't.
You were recovering from your accident, and
Yes.
at that time, and also, I suppose, planning to visit your mother back in Malaysia.
Yes. Yes.
Right. So what would you say your typical work week was like during that time, just before the pandemic hit you or hit us all?
I serve on several boards and executive committee. So most of it are relating to NUS, where I'm on some of these boards in the National University of Singapore Society, in Raffles Hall Association, and I was previously the treasurer of Fencing Singapore. I was also previously in the board of Rotary Club of Suntec City, serving in various capacities. So to be very upfront, my social work it has been quite a bit over the past 20 years. I was even a Sunday school teacher for 15 years, teaching children on Sunday mornings. Yeah.
Right. So at the time when the COVID pandemic hit us, you were still very active in these various roles.
Yes.
In all the different committees. So
Yes.
I assume that when COVID-19 hit, you would have some difficulties in performing these roles, or I mean there would be changes in these activities. Maybe you would like to tell us a little bit of how you actually managed to cope being a committee member.
Yes. I think it was really a big shock for everyone. So for my case, because I was in the accident and I had to be on medical or rather hospitalization leave for almost 5 months, that resulted in me not being able to go out. So I had informed all the committees that I would not be able to attend the meetings because I have to be stuck at home. Then because COVID struck, it turned out to be a blessing for me because the meetings could be conducted through Zoom, and everyone began to share more of the information online through email, through central systems like shared directories. So and for me, because I'm trained in computer science, it was easy to pick up and adapt. So I like to share also another point. With COVID-19 came the rise of a lot of us doing video conferencing like how we are now. And one of the things that we found was that we could easily connect with people outside of Singapore. So in the past, we were more insular because we had to meet physically for our meetings and we could not include our friends abroad. But because COVID-19 caused us to use Zoom, we could then connect with our friends, families, yeah, make new friends who were in other parts of the world. And I think because Singapore was one of the first to adopt video conferencing rapidly, we were also able to draw in new friends from as far as Europe, Africa, and even several people, Europeans and Americans, who were stuck in various Asian countries like Cambodia or Burma. So it was actually very, I felt that as a Singaporean, we open our arms and allow, in fact, we welcome anyone who will be willing to join us on this platform to discuss, to meet up, to chat, to de-stress on video conference facility.
Perhaps you can tell us what you mean by these video conferences in relation. Is it in relation to Rotary Club, or is it in relation to NUS? You know, these friends and other people who are joining you from overseas.
Let me use an example from Raffles Hall Association. So we are the alumni of one of the hostels in NUS, and every year NUS would have its what we call its homecoming, where it invites, or Cambridge Family Day, where it invites its alumnus back and then to fellowship and meet one another. But because of COVID-19, our friends from abroad, especially from Malaysia, from Australia, from Hong Kong, they could not come to Singapore. They could not leave their countries. So they were, in fact, a little depressed, I'll say, because they were looking forward to meeting their old friends. And you know, when we meet our old friends, it gives us very positive feelings. We feel young again. And because we knew that there was this need, a few of us got together and decided that, okay, let's do this. Let's arrange meetings, fellowship online. And we also added the element of entertainment. So we also got some people to create videos, music videos. And in the process of creating music videos, a lot of our old friends reconnected with one another. Yeah. So I think the ability to touch one another, even though it's only virtual, just like how we're doing now, you and I, it still touches something deep inside us to enable.
Right. So that means you mean like when you had an alumni day, which would be a physical get together prior to COVID, you actually conducted events that were online, virtual events online. Is that what you mean for alumni day, right?
Yes, we just started last year. Yes, just last year. Right, alumni day. Always face to face. We'll meet at campus. Yeah.
Right. So was it a hybrid event? Was it physical and virtual, or purely virtual?
Purely virtual. It's only physical for those who are in the same family. So we have some alumni who are husband and wife, then they'll be together. Okay. We had also some, not many, but 2 or 3 students, yeah, but not many, yeah.
Okay. So it was it turned from a purely physical event to a virtual event, right? As you mentioned. And what about for Rotary Club? Because Rotary Club always has monthly get-togethers, right? And for Suntec City, for example, that particular branch, right? Or you would also always have your monthly meetings. Is that correct? Usually. So how was that facilitated after COVID-19 hit?
That in fact worked amazingly well. So because all the business professionals could pick up technology easily, we quickly activated the Zoom meetings, and we had even people from abroad who wanted to join our meetings. And you know, Rotarians, we welcome our fellow Rotarians from other countries, visitors, visiting Rotarians, we call them. And because it was a virtual meeting, we had a lot of visiting Rotarians online. They were calling in from Europe, from Africa, you know, from there was an expatriate. He lives in Singapore, but he was stuck in Cambodia. So he was saying, "Oh, thank God, you know, I'm able to talk to you guys. You know, I can't wait to come back to Singapore. But meantime, you know, this fellowship is great." Yeah.
So did you do it Zoom or webinar, or did you conduct this? Google Meet?
Oh, for Rotary, almost exclusively on Zoom, and it's because Zoom has one of the best capabilities. Google has some restrictions, yeah, because you can't see everyone clearly. Well,
Right.
Zoom, if you want to take a photograph, it's really nice, right? Everybody appears
Oh,
really, really clearly. Yeah.
right. Okay, that's good to hear. I understand also you have a 25-year-old daughter. So did she also work from home with you, or was she working outside?
Yes. So at that time, she was working in a local, I would say, creative agency, advertising and events, I think. Um, and she actually organized to be our home to be a place where her colleagues can meet up because they needed a place where five of them could work together. And we opened up our home and welcome her colleagues to come and work here.
Yeah,
Almost
so this
every day.
was,
Yeah.
yeah, but this was already in phase 2, right? In phase 1, it was still quite restricted, or just from the very beginning of
I,
phase.
I cannot remember the date, but it was when the government told all the offices to close,
Right.
that everyone had to work from home. But because they were in a team and they needed to meet, to discuss things, and also to give each other moral support. So I think it was a week after the government told the officers to close that they gathered at our place. Yeah.
Right. So that was an alternative venue
Yeah.
for her to work from home, and that you also had her colleagues in your home during that time.
Yes.
That yeah. Uh, so how about your mom? Because
Mm,
obviously,
yes.
uh, although you've already had a long distance communication with her, how did anything change during the pandemic?
Yes, yes. So, to be very open, it was very difficult for me to accept the fact that I can't travel to Kuala Lumpur to be with her because that was the promise I made to her that I would take care of her. And that was the reason why I quit my job. Um, so, because of the pandemic, there were quite a few disruptions. Initially, I could only call her on her phone, and there was no video because she didn't know how to use it. So it was a gradual approach with the help of my sister, who was in KL then, but she's now in Australia, and also my half sister who's in KL, who brought my mom some food occasionally. And through my calls, my daily calls to my mom, and thereafter upgrading her telephone, her mobile telephone, so that it allowed her to take the WhatsApp video calls. Yeah, then things started getting better. Yeah, so it took a lot of patience and also positiveness to know that the future will be better. So right now our main topic is, should you take the COVID-19 injection?
The vaccination, yeah.
Yes, yes,
Yeah,
yes,
so she would feel definitely much better seeing you
yes.
not just hearing your voice, but seeing you as well.
Yeah.
And so for yourself,
Mm,
during this COVID-19 period,
mm.
what were the courses that you took, or, what were the kind of activities that you had besides your committee, engagements?
Mm, mm. Yeah, so I went through several courses, mostly using my Skills Future Fund. And I'm also a member of NTUC. So I signed up with NTUC for a lot of courses, project management, risk management, because I had to refresh myself again. And my one wonderful course I did end of last year was the Enterprise SG sponsored course on entrepreneurship. Because I thought, oh, okay, you know, since I need to start a business, why don't I go for the course first? And it was also very interesting because I met a lot of people from the ages of mid-20s, in fact, some of them early 20s, all the way up to 50s. Yeah. So with the wide age range and the interest in developing Singapore enterprises was very motivating for me. I think Singaporeans have come a long way, and now more people are more willing to take responsibility and say, okay, you know, I have the skills, the government is supporting, okay, let's do something. Yeah, since we're all stuck with one another, you know, we can't escape and go somewhere else. Yeah.
And so these courses, they were online or hybrid, or what kind of, were they physical?
Mostly online. I think throughout the 3 months, we only had a physical meetup, not more than 3 or 4 times. And even then, only half the class could meet because our class was about 70, 80 people. So maximum number would be 50. So we split into 2 groups. Yeah.
And project work, etc., that you would have to do?
Yes. So for my project team, and for the rest also, most of us worked in teams of 3 or 2. So we would meet. I also invited them to meet at my place, or, you know, we meet at their place or somewhere outside. Yeah, because especially for team meeting, we find we need to meet face to face for the energy. Yeah, we find that when we meet through Zoom virtual, we tend to switch off after a while. It's hard to concentrate fully. Yeah, and we also wanted to get to know each other because all of us were strangers to one another. Yeah, so yeah, meeting up face to face was an important factor for us.
And I understand you have already completed the course and mentoring the younger people in your group and going into new businesses and ventures.
Yes, yes. So there's been quite a bit of, you know, we're not always sure where we want to go. So initially, I was going to go into this company with 2 other young men. And after that, at the end of the course, we say, okay, do we want to do it or not? And then one of the guys said, no, he's not so keen. So I said, okay, let me think about it. But the third guy, who was the original, the idea came from him, he was very keen. So we met up again recently and he said that, oh, would you join me? Then I said, we need a third person. Then he said, okay, he'll call his friend. So I said, okay, so we are exploring. And I must confess, I think after several meetups, I think my challenge is the big age gap. So I'm in my 50s and they're only in their 20s. So the energy level is very different. I've also had the privilege to be approached by other classmates. They are the young people, they're in their 20s. And I feel very blessed because they said, you know, Kim, we find that you're very approachable and you have great ideas and we can talk to you. Yeah, you understand what we mean, you know. And that motivated me to say, okay, you know, why don't, if you need help, just let me know, I can mentor you. Because I used to be a mentor when I was working full-time in my earlier employments. Yeah.
Right. So you would say that even during the period of COVID-19, that opportunities open up, even during this pandemic period, right? It was not all doom and gloom or staying at home. Would you say you have become even more active during this period, or would you say it'd be the same?
You are absolutely right. Personally, I found myself becoming more active. I was more aware of what's available. And I think because of my age, I know that I have to be selective because I don't have the energy to do everything. Yeah. And you know, Jasmine, we met on the course at Arts House. That was also lovely to write a monologue, you know, and to film it. and it was featured publicly by Jeffrey
Yeah.
on
And I think
Facebook.
that was the hybrid course, right? It was
Yes.
we had it on Zoom, and then the final performances were physical in the art house, right?
Yes. Yes.
And yeah, right. So just perhaps would you say that you know, did you have any like feelings of despair or during this COVID-19 period, or how did you actually stay positive during this period?
Yeah, I think my despair probably came just before COVID-19 because of my road accident in December 2019. So I was, stuck in a hospital with a neck brace, and they tell me, oh, you might get paralyzed, and those sort of horror stories. So I actually got pretty depressed. But thank God I had a wonderful doctor, Dr. Mark Tan from Tan Tock Seng Hospital, also very good looking, but very nice guy. So he was very encouraging. And he also told me that, the COVID-19 pandemic is coming because there were already signs in China. And he said, let us do the surgery as soon as possible and get you out of the hospital as soon as possible. That was in early January. So we did that. I had the operation. Then I got discharged and came home. So in some ways, the doctor already pre-warned me that we'll all be stuck at home. And I then went on my computer and said, okay, what can we do? I can watch videos and things like that. And I'm really thankful that a lot of training courses were available online, a lot of sponsorships by our government, so we could use our skills future. So to be very honest, for the first 2-3 months, although I had my ups and downs, I think it still depends on ourselves, right? To call our friends and say, hey, how are you doing today? I don't feel very good, so sian, tak boleh tahan lah, So we let off steam with one another. And these are my very old friends, so we could speak very candidly. So in fact, there was one wonderful Zoom meeting where I had friends from Singapore, Malaysia, China, Australia, UK, even US. So we got online, and it was so difficult because to get a proper time zone for everyone. Thank God the daylight saving time was not switched on yet. So we met at 9 p.m. when everybody could come online. So that was a boost for me to see all my friends who has not gathered together since like 20, 30 years.
So during this period, and also perhaps even going on, you would say that you had social gatherings, right? In a way, these social gatherings, but the social gatherings were virtual in nature, and actually inclusive of many more people than maybe even a physical social gathering.
Yes.
Would you say that? Yeah.
Yes.
So did you acquire any new hobbies or skills during the COVID-19 period, or during this period, you would say?
Yes, I think I have to say that I found my artistic and creative side, or rather I acknowledged it a bit more. Because in the past, being trained in finance and computer, I always thought myself to be, a square box, right? But because of the pandemic, I got involved with organizing gatherings, with the script writing. No, not script writing, was writing a monologue. And then I decided to start a script writing course at the National University of Singapore Society. And one of my students, he told me that he was so inspired that he decided to pursue his dreams. And he's on a course with MediaCorp now. Yeah. So I think, yes, the 1 year has been enriching, and it was because we had the technology platform here in Singapore. Bandwidth is excellent, right? Because the experience is also very important. In some countries, they have a very laggy time. Yeah, so that it's not a pleasant experience for them. But for us, with broadband, it's been wonderful. Yeah, so our productivity is very high.
Right, that's good. So moving forward, what are your plans now? I mean, we are still under some restrictions,
Mm.
but what what are your thoughts and your plans now
Mm.
for as we are hopefully entering into the more opening period, and also with more vaccinations coming online.
Mm. Mm. Yeah, I have three main priorities. The first is my daughter, and I have to make sure that the home is welcoming for her. I'm pleased to share that she and her husband she and the boyfriend plan to get married, and I'm trying to get them to get married earlier because it's COVID-19. They cannot go out, so might as well start making babies for Singapore. I think she'll get upset when she hears me say this. But yeah, so she's first priority. Second priority with my mother in Kuala Lumpur, but I have to wait until the borders are open. And the third priority is our livelihood. So I'm looking to set up some business. I haven't got it well structured in my mind yet, but I think it will definitely involve mentoring, coaching, training, guiding, because that seems to be the feels that I get from the people whom I'm engaged with. Yeah, they value the advice because I have international business experience and also a lot of people experience. Yeah, yeah. So I think that can lend a lot of help to the young people. Plus, one added value which I like to bring to the table would be helping them form strong teams. A lot of the young people are so isolated, so they are not used to working in large teams. But if you want to do something big, you have to come together as a big group and make them work. So that is another challenge that I decided that okay, let's do that. Let's build strong Singaporeans plus teams.
Right, right. So are there any final thoughts that you want to share with us about, COVID-19 and the impact, or, how it's changed your life, or, uh, and any other thoughts that you might want to share?
Yeah, with COVID-19, we are in the midst of the great reset, right? Everybody's resetting. And I feel very blessed that I live in Singapore because we have a very progressive community, government, yeah, friends. And being in a small place is also advantageous because it's so easy for us to meet one another and just sort things out. And with our amazing telecommunications, computer systems, we can reach out to the world. So I am very, very hopeful that Singapore will be able to ride the next wave that come in. I don't think we'll be able to create the wave because we're such a small country. We have large, countries like US, China, UK, Germany. They're all huge. So they will be the ones who are creating the waves. Whilst for us, we're the smaller country, but we have to run fast and try to ride on the waves with our own surfboards. Yeah, and I believe we can because our people are hungry, our people enjoy the satisfaction of achievement, and our people enjoy the social fellowship, learning about different cultures and races. So I'm in fact very hopeful, and I'm glad that we have the younger generation around us to inspire us to continue to move forward because we are going to live for another 20, 30 more years. So you might as well make our lives worthwhile and enjoyable.
Right. So yeah, so thank you very much, Siew Kim, for giving us the time.
Thank you,
Yeah,
Jasmine.
thank you so very much. Wish you all the best. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you to all of you. International
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.